Not all Olympic gold medals are created equal, and some are worth far more than just their weight in gold. Today we have an incredible piece of basketball history, a gold medal from the very first Olympic basketball tournament in 1936. But this medal isn't just rare, it's tied to a player who literally changed the game. John C. Fortenberry led the US team to victory against Canada in the 1936 Berlin Olympics, a game played in conditions no one would expect for basketball, a driving rainstorm on a muddy clay court.
The US wins 19-8 in a downpour that turned the clay and sand surface they had to play into mud.
Just a mess, absolute mess. Yep. No dribbling, you just had to throw it, and it was a driving rain.
Right.
The reason? A decision by Hitler himself, who insisted basketball be played outdoors. Despite the impossible conditions, Fortenberry scored 8 points, leading his team to a 19-8 win and securing the first ever Olympic gold medal for basketball. But Fortenberry wasn't just a gold medalist, he helped redefine the sport. At 6'7", he played for the McPherson Oilers before joining the Phillips 66ers, one of the top teams in the country before the NBA existed. He's even credited with pioneering the slam dunk, a move so revolutionary that the New York Times took notice in 1936.
I have this great memory when I was in high school, out in front of our house, shooting goals and trying to dunk it. And I'm a little challenged, I was only 6'2". And he came home, he has his hat on and his pipe. He's about 55, takes his hat off, takes his pipe out, says, well, yeah, I can still do that. He jumped straight up and dunks it two-handed at the age of 55.
His dominance led to rule changes in basketball, including the introduction of goaltending and the elimination of jump balls after every made basket.
The reason, or one of the reasons for goaltending, because there was no goaltending. He would just jump up and swat the ball away.
Right.
And finally, I don't know when they did it, they decided, we can't let him do that.
His impact in the game of basketball is undeniable, but how much is his Olympic gold medal worth today? One of his teammates' medals, which had been altered and used as a necklace, sold at auction for $66,000. But this medal, in its near-pristine condition, still in its original box, would have an insurance value of.
We put a value on it of $175,000.
Wow. Wow. I was right, more or less.
Most championship rings look the same, but some represent more than just a title. They symbolize the legacy of an entire era. Today we have an extraordinary collection of Green Bay Packers history, tied to NFL Hall of Famer Henry Jordan. Henry Jordan was an American professional football player who was a defensive tackle for 13 seasons in the NFL with the Cleveland Browns and Green Bay Packers. Jordan was known for his speed, agility, and sharp wit, earning him a highly celebrated football career.
And he was known for his wit. He was a very funny man. One of the famous things that he's known for saying is, Lombardi treats us all the same like dogs.
Jordan played a crucial role in the Packers' dominance of the 1960s under legendary coach Vince Lombardi. His daughters brought in an incredible assortment of memorabilia, including 3 World Championship rings, a Super Bowl I ring, and a charm bracelet awarded to the wives of players.
When the team won, the wives would get a charm. And so this is a charm bracelet and has different years for all the different divisional championships. Or this one here is an outstanding lineman in 1962.
The Packers won the NFL championship in 1961, 1962, and 1965, each victory marked by a ring that showcased the team's growing dynasty. But 1966 changed everything. It was the first year the NFL championship game was rebranded as the Super Bowl. And Jordan's Super Bowl I ring represents the birth of what would become the biggest event in American sports. The following year, the Packers cemented their dominance with another victory in Super Bowl II, making them the first team in history to win back-to-back Super Bowls. Beyond the rings, the collection includes a charm bracelet given to the wives, featuring medallions for various team and individual achievements, including Jordan's 7-time All-Pro and 5-time Pro Bowl honors. And what makes this collection even more special, Henry Jordan wore these rings with pride. His Super Bowl II ring became his everyday piece, a constant reminder of the team's greatness. At auction, the combined value of these championship pieces is estimated at.
We think insurance value is between $150,000 to $200,000.
Okay.
As you said, you really can't value it. The sentimental value is enormous.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, when this came in, we were thrilled.
Some autographs are valuable, others tell a story, but when they come from Babe Ruth himself, they become legendary. Today we have a remarkable collection of signed photographs passed down through generations. These pieces once hung in the Hilltop restaurant in Greenwood Lake, New York, owned by the guest's great-uncle and aunt, who were close friends of Babe Ruth.
Wow, how many years did Gehrig and Herbie own the restaurant?
Possibly from maybe the late 30s to this early 60s.
These photographs were acquired over several years, turning the restaurant into an archive of personal memories with one of baseball's greatest legends. Among the collection are several signed photographs, each offering a rare glimpse into Ruth's life beyond the ballpark. One of the most striking is a large 14 by 11-inch photo, personally inscribed by Ruth with a short note to the guest's ancestors. Another rarity in this collection is an inscribed childhood photo of Ruth at just 3 years old, an image well known but almost never found with a personal dedication.
And what an inscription this is. What a nice little boy at age 3, but now wow, to my pals Herbie and Gehrig, Babe Ruth.
And then there's a mystery, an image addressed to my little girlfriend Joan, though no one quite knows who she was. When assessing historic photographs such as these, experts focus on 3 key factors: size and rarity, authenticity, and provenance. Babe Ruth's signature is well documented, but many forgeries exist. Fortunately, this set's pristine history leaves little doubt. Given its authenticity, inscriptions, and historical significance, this group of photos is valued at...
I think that they would sell for between $25,000 and $30,000 for the group. So what would Herbie and Gehrig say about this?
Sell them!
Some trophies symbolize victory, but this one tells the story of a legend. The guest today brought in the 1955 Kentucky Derby Trophy, won by the Horse Swaps and jockeyed by none other than Willie Shoemaker. Willie Shoemaker was considered the greatest American jockey, holding the record for the most professional jockey victories 9 years. But this isn't just a prized piece of racing history, it's a family heirloom. The guest is Shoemaker's son, though he was adopted, and his memories of his father extend far beyond the racetrack. He recalls moments like playing basketball with John Wayne rather than the trophies or titles his father earned. Willie Shoemaker's story is remarkable. Born prematurely, his grandmother created a makeshift incubator using a shoebox and an oven door to keep him warm, an act that likely saved his life. Despite his small stature at just 4 feet 11 inches and 105 pounds, he became one of the greatest jockeys of all time, racing for 50 years and winning 4 Kentucky Derbies. The trophy itself is a stunning piece of horse racing history, though the horse figurine is detached from the top, a fixable issue. But what truly elevates its value is the significance behind it. This was Shoemaker's first Derby victory, marking the start of an incredible legacy. Given its historical importance and connection to a racing icon, the appraiser values it at... A baseball isn't just a ball when it carries the signatures of legends. The guest brought in a remarkable 1928 New York Yankees team-signed baseball, inherited from a next-door neighbor who had received it from his uncle. The story behind it is as intriguing as the item itself. The guest's neighbor explained that his uncle, who once owned a property near Fenway Park, allowed visiting teams to hunt doves on his property. As a token of appreciation, the Yankees gifted him this signed baseball, featuring 22 autographs, including those of Babe Ruth, Lou Gehrig, and Cy Moore. Team-signed baseballs are valued based on the number of signatures, their condition, and historical significance. This ball contains 22 signatures, a great number for a complete team-signed ball.
You always want to see at least 19 signatures to be considered a complete team ball. 21 and 22 is about the average. You get over that, and then it becomes a more exceptional piece. In this case, you have 22 signatures on the ball. And one that we couldn't identify at first. Right. We talked about Matty Matthews.
Yes, Matty Matthews.
Interestingly, one non-Yankee signature appears on the ball, that of Matty Matthews, a world welterweight boxing champion, likely a clubhouse guest at the time. However, the ball is missing one key signature, that of Miller Huggins, who managed the New York Yankees team from 1918 to 1929. Despite that, its condition is superb, with no shellac or varnish, and the signatures remain bold and legible. The appraiser gives some details as to why this piece would sell lesser than similar signed balls that have come onto the market.
The second part of it is that auction result you saw that was almost $150,000 was also a ball that came from Earl Combs family.
Okay. All right.
So it was from one of the actual team members' estate.
Yeah.
And we talk about that all the time. If you have an object, whether it's a ball, a bat, a team photo, anytime it was that player's personal item,
Yes.
the value goes up exponentially.
Interesting.
The 1928 Yankees were also champions, sweeping the St. Louis Cardinals in the World Series, but historical perception makes a difference in value. Taking all these factors into account, the appraiser estimates the ball would sell at auction for...
Would sell for between $25,000 and $35,000.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right. That's excellent. That's excellent. Like I say, it's not going anywhere.
Some baseballs are valuable for the legends who signed them, others for the stories they tell. The guest brought in a remarkable 1951 New York Yankees team-signed baseball. But this wasn't just any collectible, it was a gift from the American actor, dancer, and singer Marilyn Monroe. As the story goes, in 1953, the guest's grandmother was dating a jazz musician in Monroe's backup band. To show her appreciation, the Hollywood icon threw a party for musicians, arriving fashionably late but with an extraordinary surprise. She handed out about 10 baseballs, each signed by the entire Yankees team, plus Joe DiMaggio, who personally added his autograph.
What we have here is 1951 New York Yankees signed team baseball. It's got fellas like a very young Mickey Mantle in his rookie season. And of course, it has Joe DiMaggio, the captain of the Yankees, the Yankee Clipper.
Supporting the story is a photograph of the party, where Monroe can be seen holding this very baseball, alongside a 1952 magazine article detailing the event. Typically, when someone outside the team signs a baseball, it reduces its value. However, Marilyn Monroe is the exception to the rule, with hers and DiMaggio's signatures together, two figures who defined both sports and pop culture. This baseball becomes something extraordinary.
And here they've both signed this phenomenal baseball. It's absolutely beautiful. The documentation is incredible.
Beyond its star power, the ball itself is in pristine condition, featuring a rookie-era Mickey Mantle and other Yankees greats. Given the rarity and fantastic provenance, the appraiser estimates that this signed baseball would have an insurance value of...
For, say, $15,000 at the very least.
It was worth it.
It's one of the most incredible signed baseballs I've ever seen.
Oh, good.
It's magnificent, and congratulations.
Yeah, it's priceless to me.
Some childhood collections gather dust, others, like this one, gather value. The guest unveiled a stunning collection of 1950s Topps baseball cards, a treasure trove passed down from their mother, originally collected by an uncle who had an eye for the game. What makes these cards stand out? Their condition. These aren't just old pieces of cardboard, they are relics of baseball's golden era, preserved in near-mint glory. Sharp corners, vibrant colors, and crisp surfaces, every collector's dream. In the world of baseball memorabilia, condition is everything. A crease or faded ink can drop a card's value, but these beauties have stood the test of time. Featured on these cards are baseball legends such as Mickey Mantle, Willie Mays, Hank Aaron, icons whose faces turned ordinary packs of gum into prized possessions. With such exceptional quality, the appraiser's valuation of these cards is a jaw-dropping estimate of...
For $15,000 to $20,000.
Very good. Very good.
This isn't just a photograph, it's a piece of baseball history that carries the echoes of two of the greatest sluggers to ever play the game. The guest brought in a remarkable original 1927 barnstorming tour photograph, signed by none other than Babe Ruth and Lou Gehrig. The guest's grandfather had acquired it in California when Ruth and Gehrig brought their show on the road, and it had spent decades tucked away in a drawer before resurfacing for evaluation. The image captures the legendary duo during their post-World Series exhibition games, a tour orchestrated by Ruth's business manager Christy Walsh. Unlike the heavily reproduced versions seen frequently, this piece is a rare first-edition print, something only a handful of collectors could ever hope to own. At first glance, the photo seemed like a dream find, complete with its rubber stamp markings reading Babe Ruth and Lou Gehrig, the home run tour on the back. Interestingly, this title deviates from the well-known barnstorming tour name, making it an even more intriguing artifact.
Oh, that's how it's known. It's an iconic image, that's how it's known, and here they call it the home run tour. They toured all around the country to crowds of thousands.
The appraiser remarks that this exact piece always comes up on the show, but this will be the first original photograph he has ever appraised.
We see probably 5 to 10 photographs of this image every season, but not originals. Highly reproduced. This is an original first edition of this photograph.
The appraiser also reveals that only 8 examples of dual-signed originals from the 1927 tour are known to exist, making this an extraordinary find. But the real debate isn't just about its rarity, it is about its authenticity. 4 experts examined the signatures. All agreed that Babe Ruth's autograph was genuine, but on Lou Gehrig's, opinion split down the middle. The appraiser himself leaned toward the signature being genuine, giving the guest a hopeful outlook. An auction valuation of this photograph, signed by the legendary baseball duo, would be
auction at $10,000 to $15,000.
Wow. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I'm very surprised.
The guest brought in an ethereal necklace given to her grandmother by the Emperor of China at the birth of her father. It is a 19th century jadeite, finely clothed with brilliant green that is translucent. The necklace features a nice coral bead, a lovely sequence, and Chinese characters made by Sushi. Sushi was the first member of the Emperor family ever to do a public relations campaign with the West. When there was a fallout with the Europeans, her quality pieces for the women were their surviving grace. This jade necklace is of high quality, but not the best jade, and will be estimated at auction for
$30,000 to $50,000. Oh my gosh. I'm very surprised.
That would surprise me. I wouldn't have thought anything like that.
You might be wondering what's special about this so-called piece of paper. Well, in fact, it's not just a random piece of paper, but an award certificate. This certificate, originally belonging to the guest's grandfather, was issued to an elder called Jacob Gates by his church.
It appears to be almost a thank you certificate or an award from his church members in England.
Upon closer inspection of the certificate, it is ascertained that several groups appreciated Elder Gates for his good works. Also documented on the certificate is the fact that Elder Gates baptized over 400 souls. Done via hand calligraphy on parchment, this certificate is graphically very intriguing. A fair market value for this piece, due to the fact that they don't appear on the market very often, would be
$10,000 to $15,000.
That would surprise me. I wouldn't have thought anything like that.
The guest's father was the last original Cleveland Brown to retire after a long career from 1946 to 1968. He was known as Lou Groza and was a great football kicker named in the Hall of Fame. The NCAA has an award named after him as the top kicker of the year. Before his death at the age of 76, he had an insurance company which he managed alongside his football career. The guest brought one of his football jerseys, one of his sideline jackets, and the first championship ring Lou received in the 19th century. Also, he brought a picture showing the ring on his father's finger while holding him up. Lou Groza was part of the A-Champions team because his team, the Browns, won 4 championships in a row and competed in the NFL as a member club of the American Football Conference, AFC. All these items are to be insured. The sideline jacket should be insured for $5,000 and the jersey for $10,000. However, the ring, which is a masterpiece, should be insured for $45,000, bringing it to a total value of
around $60,000.
Okay. Wonderful.
What we have here is an extraordinary piece from the late 19th century in the form of a convertible bathtub encased in an East Lake-style chestnut cabinet. This piece is complete with incised flower heads and reeded pilasters. This intriguing piece is not just a relic of Victorian ingenuity, but a rare find that even seasoned appraisers have rarely encountered.
Where did you find this bathtub?
I bought this in Valley City, North Dakota about 2 years ago.
The bathtub itself is a testament to the inventive spirit of the era, akin to the space-saving Murphy beds of the same period. Ingeniously designed to fold away into a stylish cabinet, it features an improved bath heater system.
I mean, you can have thousands of people in one town and there'd be one bathtub. So this is pretty amazing that this one survived. It would have been made for probably a wealthy family.
Given that this convertible bathtub showcases the evolving history of hygiene, it will auction for
$3,500. And what'd you pay for it?
$2,500.
$2,500? Good for you. Good job.
The guest brought in 2 fine pieces of art, a pitcher and a plate, for appraisal. These are Picasso ceramics made in 1946 when Picasso was in residence in the south of France. He made thousands of pieces within 24 years using motifs in ceramic. However, out of the over 3,500 pieces he made, 600 were picked and additions were made, from which these pitcher and plate came. The pitcher and plate were made in 1954 and 1955, respectively. Furthermore, the pitcher has a beautifully designed body, and at the bottom is a mark and signature. But there are noticeable chips at the edges of the pitcher. Therefore, it would sell at $5,000 to $7,000 at an auction. However, the plate is in good condition and has the same mark and signature as the pitcher, and at an auction would be worth
$12,000 and $15,000.
Oh, that's interesting. I would have thought the picture would have brought.
Acquired by her great-grandmother and passed on to her, this guest is on the show with a beautiful necklace for appraisal. The piece was made by Trevor Arthur and Mobsons and was later acquired by a French company. They designed much jewelry, especially for movie stars, and called them reflections. But the necklace had diminished in value because it's been repolished and would only be worth around $1,000 to $1,500. The other piece is a beautiful ballerina brooch by Van Cleef & Arpels in New York. It features a rose-cut diamond head, and its body is made of diamond and sapphire, purely glazed. At the back is a signature, so at an auction, this piece would fetch
How's $8,000 to $10,000? Sounds pretty good.
The guest brought in a mysterious box bearing a plaster head with human eyelashes and a strange-looking human hand. Willie Sutton was a famous bank armed robber always in and out of prison, and these were what he used in an attempted breakout. History had it that he robbed over 100 banks and escaped from prison 3 times, and he used this dummy head and hand. The prison was run by the guest's grandfather, who kept the box in Camp Hill Prison until he retired after Sutton was released. Sutton made the dummy with human hair from a barber shop, and the same with the eyelashes, even though how he got the pigment is not known. In August of 1941, the escape attempt happened, but he later escaped and became the 11th person to be added to the FBI's most wanted list in 1950. Most of the escape tools used by prisoners are usually owned by the prison or prison museums, hence do not come up on auction tables. However, without the box and the provenance of the label on the box, it is just a head. So a conservative estimate at auction would be
$2,500 to $3,500. Wow, that's nice.
The guest brought in a fantastic-looking clothes dresser from about 30 years ago. With beautiful woodwork designs on the door, this old clothes dresser was used for keeping linens, blouses, and trousers in the 17th century. Since more value is placed on such items if they are American instead of British, it's important to find out if this clothes dresser is American. Firstly, the side wood fringe along the top is hardly seen in American pieces. Secondly, looking inside the cross-border drawers, the size is thin and made of English oak from the Georgian period. Also, there are screws at the edges, and the door, when opened, reveals shelves that can be pulled out easily. At the back, braces and light holes show classic British furniture. Though the design is wonderful with a great patina and wood finish, because it is not American, the value at auction would probably be around
$12,000 to $18,000. Wow. That's a good increase.
Great investment.
The guest brought in a blanket chest that her grandparents used for keeping rugs for appraisal. The design showcases Spanish colonial influence from the southwestern American parts. Cabinet makers in this area used local wood, Panda Rose pine, to make furniture because hardwood didn't grow there. This piece is decorated with iconography, perhaps with some local characteristics like clouds or fishes. Hence, the starfish carving designs on the body of this furniture. It was made in the 19th century when iron was very expensive in the region, so they did not use nails, but instead put the chest together with modern synthetic construction. With pegs or pins, they held the joints together, but pieces of iron were used for the clasps and hinges, which a blacksmith would have had to make. This kind of furniture is rare in the market and has a conservative estimate of
$3,000 to $5,000.
That's nice.
This guest brought a painting that used to be in his grandmother's house. It is from the 40s, and the artist's name is J. Clinton Shepard. Shepard was an illustrator, and this was one of his best paintings. The painting looks scary, as it features a hunter with his gun, sturdy boots, and headlights. At an auction, a reasonable estimate for this painting would be
between $5,000 and $7,000.
The guest bought this print at an auction for $15 and has kept it rolled up in his house. There is a noticeable flaking at the edges of the print, which is why it has been rolled up for a long time. Made from different sheets and printed on different sheets of paper, the print is then mounted on linen and hung on a stand. It was done by William Strang in 1899 and was commissioned from Strang by the Artful School Association. The school produced prints that were sold to raise money for the school. It is done as an art and crafts style, but the condition issues would be expensive to fix. Once fixed, a retail value would be around
for about $1,500.
This guest brought in a bat buckle she purchased in Pennsylvania for appraisal. The stones are considered as paste, and it is a belt and sash buckle. It was made between 1900 to 1915 in the Germany-Austrian style known as Jugendsten, meaning youth style. Furthermore, it is made of German metal, which is a mixture of nickel, zinc, and copper. Also, the stones are early rhinestones. This old piece, bought at $20 by the guest, would at an auction be estimated at
$400 to $500. Wow!
A Pyographic blanket closet, a unique piece of folk art, was brought in by the guest. It was created using Pyography, a technique of burning designs onto wood with a heated metal tip. The wooden cabinet itself is likely Western red cedar, dating back to the late 1800s to early 1900s based on the hardware and construction style. However, the stunning Art Nouveau design on the Pyography artwork itself pointed to a creation date of around 1910 to 1915. The most captivating aspect of the artwork was the imagery: 10 panels featuring 7 winged babies, possibly representing deceased children, some with faint names inscribed on their foreheads. It was wondered if these were the artist's own children and if the artwork served as a personal story. The piece also held a sense of mystery. 2 of the children's figures had their outlines burned, but details like hair and eyebrows only penciled in, unfinished. This raises the speculation that the artist might have passed away before completing the work. The guest had purchased the piece for $300 in 1987 and never had it appraised. Due to the artwork's uniqueness and artistry, its auction value is
to $12,000.
But retail could go as high as
$15,000 to $20,000.
That's great.
A beautiful mesh purse, a treasured heirloom inherited from their grandmother who lived in New York City, was brought in by the guest. The guest's mother used to call it a mad money purse, likely a place to stash some secret spending money. The purse is a 14-karat yellow gold change purse from the late 1890s, likely part of the Gilded Age or late Victorian era. These purses were popular at the time, but this particular example was in excellent condition, with the intricate mesh intact and the clasp mechanism functional, uncommon for such vintage purses. The most striking feature was a large 10-karat amethyst stone adorning the top. The amethyst, a beautiful violet gemstone, added a touch of luxury to the purse. The purse also had a hallmark identifying the maker as Carter Go Company, a renowned jeweler from Newark, New Jersey. Carter Go Company was a well-respected firm that produced high-quality jewelry during the late 19th and early 20th centuries. Having a hallmark from this prestigious maker added significantly to the purse's value. Considering the gold content, excellent condition, and prestigious maker, the estimated retail value of the purse is
$5,000 and $7,000.
Hoo-ha!
This unique heirloom, a book form watch, has been in the family for 5 or 6 generations, dating back to their great-great-great-grandmother, who was from France. The watch is a type from around 1860, featuring a compartment that could hold not just one photograph, but a small family portrait with spaces for 3 pictures. This personalization added sentimental value to the watch beyond its mechanical function of keeping time. Based on the watch's condition, in its current state, it's estimated to be worth
$4,000 to $6,000 at a show.
Interestingly, if restored professionally, it could be worth as much as
$6,000 to $8,000.
Take a look at this delightful Tiffany Studios table that was passed down to this guest by her great-grandfather. Accompanying this lamp is a photograph showing the lamp in the interior of the house. This lamp features a Moorish pattern characterized by intricate geometric designs, which usually showcase complex patterns carved or etched into materials, like brass, creating a stunning visual effect. What is unique about this lamp is that it has all its parts intact, which is quite unusual. The prism is reinforced in such a way that it doesn't fall off, which makes it more valuable.
Whereas the other prisms I've seen are usually hooked on very flimsily on a little S hook, and that it explains why they're all gone.
Well preserved and in pristine condition, this Tiffany Studios table lamp will fetch
$25,000 to $35,000. Great. That's wonderful.
A bronze statue received as a gift from a dear friend who had recently passed away was brought in by the guest. Though this friend had acquired the piece in China, it is revealed that it was actually a Japanese masterpiece from the Meiji period, a golden age for bronze production in Japan. Unlike typical Chinese bronzes featuring gods and warriors, this statue depicted a serene Japanese fisherman with a fish triumphantly dangling from his line, reflecting the Japanese aesthetic preference for everyday subjects. The exquisite detail extended to the 24-karat gold trim, making it a highly valuable parcel-gilt bronze. An inscription hidden on the statue's base provided the key to its origin: the Miao family, a renowned bronze maker dynasty in Japan. This prestigious maker's mark, along with the statue's condition, significantly boosted its value. The statue wasn't just a decorative piece, it was a testament to the artistry of the Meiji period and a valuable heirloom for the guest. Despite a slight dip in the market, the estimated value of the statue is
$3,000 to $5,000 estimate for its sale.
Wonderful.
A guest shared a fascinating family heirloom known as the Tiffany pitcher, dating back to the 1850s. This exquisite piece was presented to his great-great-grandfather, who was a mate on the riverboat Nominee. When a child fell overboard on a charter boat, the guest's great-great-grandfather heroically saved him, and as a reward, the passengers collected money and commissioned Tiffany & Company as a token of their gratitude. The appraiser praised the documentation of the piece's history, noting it as one of the most interesting examples of presentation silver. Typically, such items are awarded for sports events, retirements, or marriages, but a life-saving act makes this pitcher a unique trophy. The intricate repose chased scene depicted the dramatic rescue, complete with a depiction of the steamboat Nominee and its name engraved on the wheel, adding to its romantic and historical allure. The front of the pitcher features an inscription with the date and the name of the boy who was saved, enhancing its provenance. This piece held significant interest for collectors of rare American silver, particularly those with a focus on Tiffany silver and early American craftsmanship. Despite some damage, including a bent foot and lead obscuring the maker's mark, the appraiser confirmed its authenticity due to the well-documented history and photographs in a family book. Initially estimated at $4,000 to $5,000, the appraiser suggested that with professional restoration and careful polishing, the value could increase to
$5,000 to $7,000, perhaps even as much as $8,000.
Wonderful. Thank
you. A lucky find from a local thrift store for a mere $15. Tucked with the doll was a charming note, a handwritten story attributing the doll to a Native American chief's wife who crafted it in 1885 for a doctor's wife. While the note is intriguing, some details were likely embellished. However, the note did hold significance and offered clues to the doll's origin. Upon closer inspection, the doll is identified as a representation of the Brule Sioux woman, a tribe from the Dakotas. The doll's exquisite craftsmanship made this pretty obvious. The intricate beadwork, the details on the moccasins, and the traditional clothing all pointed towards a depiction of a high-status woman within the Brule Sioux community. But the most surprising aspect of the doll was its condition. It appeared almost untouched by time, with clean materials and vibrant colors. This is attributed to careful storage over the years, suggesting the doll had been treasured by its previous owners. Dating the doll to the early 1880s, the piece holds historical significance, particularly when considering the note's context. The combination of the doll's quality, age, and potential connection to a bygone era within the Brule Sioux tribe made it a highly valuable collector's item. Taking all these factors into account, the estimated worth of the doll at auction is
I think you're talking $3,500 to $4,500 if the doll came up at auction.
Really?
It's a great thing.
We have here a beautiful rookwood pottery piece inherited from the guest's father-in-law. She had always admired it, but knew little about its history or value. It is a rare and valuable piece, a rookwood pottery jug with a silver overlay by Gorham Manufacturing. The rookwood pottery itself was decorated with a hand-painted picture, likely by artist Harriet Wilcox, who was known for her whimsical designs. Uniquely, the silver overlay actually complemented and framed the artwork, showcasing a respectful collaboration between the pottery artist and the silversmith. Several factors contributed to the piece's value. The use of a renowned pottery artist like Wilcox and a prestigious silversmith like Gorham was significant. The early period of the Gorham overlay added value as well. The excellent condition of the pottery, free of cracks or crazing, was another positive aspect. The only drawback identified was a hairline crack, which unfortunately detracted slightly from the value. Despite this, the estimated auction value of the piece is
between $3,000 and $4,000.
You're kidding.
No.
Oh my gosh.
And were it not for the tight hairline, I would have said $4,000 to $6,000.
a beautiful silver bowl, a collaborative design rich in both sentimental and artistic value, was brought in by the guest. It commemorated the guest's service at the Rochester Institute of Technology and served as a unique reminder of their collaboration with Hans Christiansen, a renowned silversmith. It is the work of Hans Christiansen, a respected artist who had apprenticed under the legendary George Jensen. Christiansen's background lent the bowl immediate prestige, but its true beauty lay in its design. The piece perfectly captured the essence of the 1970s aesthetic, a style that was experiencing a significant revival among collectors, especially those with fond memories of the era. Beyond its visual appeal, the bowl showcased exceptional craftsmanship. The hand-hammered texture and the organic uneven rim distinguished it as a one-of-a-kind piece, a stark contrast of mass-produced items. This emphasis on handcrafted artistry resonated with modern collectors who increasingly sought out pieces that told a story and highlighted the skills of the maker. Considering the confluence of factors, Hans Christiansen's artistry, the resurgent popularity of 1970s designs, and the bowl's handcrafted quality, the estimated auction value is
$2,000 to $4,000 and could perhaps exceed that.
That's great.
This bronze statue of Osiris, the Egyptian god of the underworld, was purchased by the guest's mother at an auction in England. It also came with a certificate linking it to the famed Karnak Temple. The statue is a depiction of Osiris, complete with his characteristic symbols, the flail and the crook, and the white crown. Its age is around 300 BC, placing it in the late period of ancient Egypt. The statue was likely placed in a tomb to assist the deceased in the afterlife. While the statue held historical significance, it had some condition issues. The most concerning was bronze disease, a green and white corrosion that could damage the statue. While the guest has grown fond of the patina, there is need for professional restoration to prevent further deterioration. If the statue were in perfect condition, it would be worth $3,000 to $4,000, but in its current condition, it is worth
$2,000.
Thank you.
Guest's mother bought a Georgian or Chippendale mahogany architect's table 25 to 30 years ago in New York, using it to prop up books. The appraiser demonstrated its features, including a lifting surface for oversized books or drawings, a pull-out and lift-up drawing or writing surface, and a storage compartment. It also has a candle slide and an inkwell. Despite some well-done restorations, such as replaced brass and a spliced edge, the table was valued at
$5,000 to $6,000 range. Guess I ought to get it insured.
A glance at this masterpiece of painting, and it could become your favorite. This item is an oil painting on canvas, and it is unframed. It beautifully depicts a cavalryman from the Napoleonic Wars in France. As ravishing as this painting is, however, it is a copy of an original done by Theodore Géricault. The painting is finished well, which suggests it is copied by another master painter.
Now, I think your painting could be as new as 1970, 1980. It's really done with pretty meticulous detail.
It's likely the painting was done as a sort of homage to Theodore, and it would be a great collection for many who love antique paintings or their copies. This painting, with all its allure, would fetch an auction price of
maybe $100, maybe a couple $100.
This painting represents the pinnacle of Native American style. It was drawn around 1955 by Woody Crumbo. Woody was a master artist whose work typically followed this style, but he was also skilled in painting portraits and other styles. His paintings are rarely available to private collectors, which significantly increases their value. This painting, like its creator, is a masterpiece, and if it were to come up for auction, thanks to Woody's reputation, it would retail at
$20,000 to $25,000.
This item is so realistic that one would not realize it is a sculpture. It represents Mexican folk art in all of its magnificence. The sculpture was carved by a famed Mexican artist named Manuel Jimenez Ramirez. The sculpture is called an alebre, which represents Mexican fantastical creatures.
Born in the early 20th century and lived up to 2005 and became famous for these carvings. His animals are these animated, dynamic figures.
It was carved around the 1990s, and it demonstrates peak expertise due to its realistic appearance. The animal sculpture is quite large, and it takes a level of know-how to create this. This beautiful Mexican folk art sculpture in today's market would auction at
$800 and $1,000.
Oh, wow.
The guest brought in an optic box that her father bought in California for appraisal. Joseph Connell was the artist who made the shadow box in the 1980s in New York. He was a realist and was into Occidentalism, which accentuated all his works. Joseph lived from 1927 to 1972 in a house with his mother, and he would have taken broken pieces of glass or china and put them in a case. The artist had exhibitions outside of New York, even as far as the LA Gallery in 1962. These pieces in the box look like planets or the solar system, but there is no signature or mark on the back of the box. With authentication, this box would be worth a few $100s. Hence, it should be checked by the catalog people who are collecting all Joseph's works. If this box is authenticated as Joseph Connell's, at an auction, it could fetch
$100,000 to $150,000. $100,000
to $150,000. Oh my God. Wow.
Yeah.
German crafts are well known for their durability and uniqueness, and the same surely can be said about these unique-looking beer mugs. Actually called beer steins, these pieces are referred to as character steins. Probably shipped into the U.S. to be sold, the quality of these steins is so high. 4 out of 5 steins were crafted by a company called Scheerholz around 1900.
It is referred to as Scheerholz. The technical name is Plaue, P-L-A-U-E.
And they're hand-painted porcelain works. The items vary, including the drunken monkey, the pig, and the sad radish. There's no way of identifying who made the 5th item, which is a salt-glazed stoneware. These items, which are really terrific and whimsical, individually would be valued at
in the $300 to $500 range a piece. They are so whimsical and entertaining. I'm really pleased that you came.
Thank you very much.
This collection of Native American artifacts is a captivating journey into the past, each piece telling a unique story of cultural heritage and craftsmanship. The Plains model cradle, which is the first purchase, is a charming relic from about 1890. Its little doll is a delightful touch, and the cradle's value has been significantly appreciated.
Probably Dakota. It has the little doll, which is very nice, and probably, I think about $800 to $1,200 would be the value of that today.
Next, the Tlingit Northwest Coast Shaman's Rattle, known as an oyster catcher rattle, stands out with its intricate design. Although this piece turned out to be a reproduction, it is still valuable.
$75,000 or $100,000.
The Woodlands Belt Cup is a true gem, likely from the 18th century and possibly of Iroquois origin. This piece features a detailed vignette of 2 beavers flanking a pine tree, suggesting a clan symbol. Its rich patina and exquisite craftsmanship are indicative of a piece that has been used over long distances. Together, these artifacts provide a glimpse into the rich traditions of Native American cultures, and the belt cup is worth
$15,000 to $20,000. Wow. Not bad for $250.
Now, I'm glad you waited till now to tell me.
That's right.
Very exciting.
This seemingly mysterious item was inherited from the guest's parents. He vaguely remembered it from their childhood, unsure of its purpose. However, on close inspection, it is recognized as a Roycroft American Beauty Vase. The Roycroft Group was a renowned American arts and crafts movement manufacturer, and their American Beauty vases were highly sought after. These American Beauty vases were known for their elegant form and handcrafted copper detailing. This particular vase would have been a stunning centerpiece holding beautiful flowers and adding a touch of artistry to any room. The green patina might be considered desirable on other copper objects like the Statue of Liberty, but was detrimental to the vase's value. In its current state, the estimated auction value of the vase is
$1,000. Appreciate it very much.
The guest proudly presented a unique artwork depicting a bustling scene in New York Harbor. It was a commissioned piece by Thomas Willis, a renowned artist who used silk as his primary medium. The guest's great-grandfather had the piece created for their great-grandmother, whose family owned tugboat companies in that area. The artwork's detail is really impressive. Willis's mastery in capturing the rigging of the ships and the realistic touches like the silk spray at the water's edge and the velvet smoke from the smokestack were truly remarkable. Through further examination, the prominent figure of Edward J. Berwind, a titan of industry and yachting enthusiast, depicted in the scene was identified. The red ship with Sandy Hook inscribed on its side offered a crucial clue. The scene captured a yacht race in New York Harbor around 1910. This transformed the artwork from a beautiful depiction into a historical snapshot, making it even more valuable. While there have been a slight decline in the general market value for Thomas Willis's work, the exceptional quality and condition of this particular piece cannot be neglected. The Willis's masterpiece is estimated to be worth
$10,000 to $15,000.
Furthermore, considering its historical significance and superior quality, the suggested insurance value is
Of about $30,000. It's far and away superior to any work by this artist we've seen.
Acquired by this guest for a measly sum, this pottery piece is truly a work of great pottery craftsmanship. Made by a company called Moorcroft in England, this piece is from one of their most popular lines. Its date of craftsmanship can be set to circa 1835, as the designs on it and the way it's crafted suggested it's from that time period. The piece has motifs of a tree set around it, adding to its beauty. In an auction setting, this fine piece of top-notch pottery would be valued at
$1,000 piece.
Wow, that's more than I expected.
The guest, a former president of a Beatles fan club, brought in a special treasure, a first edition copy of John Lennon's In His Own Right, signed by John Lennon himself. But the story behind the autograph made the book even more remarkable. The guest had met all the Beatles at their homes and brought them gifts from their fellow fan club members. During a visit to Paul McCartney's house, the guest had the book with them. Paul picked it up and started reading a poem from the book into the guest's tape recorder, creating a truly unique and personal connection to the book. The autograph is really significant, especially considering the prevalence of forged Beatles signatures. However, the fact that the guests had witnessed John sign the book and had photographic evidence of their meeting with Paul McCartney reading from the book made the provenance of the autograph undeniable. Even the unpublished candid photograph of Paul McCartney has a value at the antique market. However, the estimated auction value of the book is to be
$3,000 to $5,000.
That is really great.
a mysterious object found at a flea market for $20 to $25 back in 1974 was brought in by the guest. He had always been unsure of its purpose and origin, even suspecting it might be a voodoo item from Louisiana. The big reveal? It was a hat rack. The folk art category embraced unique and sometimes enigmatic pieces like this one. The hat rack was exceptionally well crafted, featuring a magnificently carved mountain lion figure and horns with original varnish. While the cowhide lining showed some wear and a horn tip was missing, the overall condition remained impressive, especially considering its age. Its lack of single origin story allowed each owner to imbue the piece with their own meaning. In this case, the guest had unknowingly acquired a valuable hat rack, but for years it had served as a conversation starter and a testament to their unique collecting taste. The estimated retail value is
$3,000 to $4,000.
Almost 25% of a college tuition. Can we get it up some?
The guest's intuition proved to be spot on when they decided to snag this item at a garage sale for a mere $20. While they mistakenly believed it was an Indian Motorcycle Company promotional item due to the sticker, it is revealed to be a far more exciting truth. The unassuming object was actually a Buddy L bus, a holy grail for collectors of vintage toys. Manufactured by the Buddy L Company in Moline, Illinois during the late 1920s, these pressed steel toys were known for their durability and intricate design. This particular bus, despite being missing its wheels and showing some signs of wear, was a primary example of such craftsmanship. The estimated auction value of this item is
$800 to $1,200 at auction.
Wow.
Satchels not only carry money, but also hold special memories, capturing moments and stories from different times in our lives. Initially thought to be from the late 1800s, a satchel was donated to a woman's boutique charity. Its materials were unknown at the time.
And it has a drawstring up here that is looped between these green rings, which correspond to the green beads, and the bead to here with the tassel part.
It was later determined to be from around 1915 and likely American. It has a drawstring that loops through green rings, which match the green beads and the bead with the tassel. There are also small fun flaps that hang down.
These were all hand-strung and individually sewn into the surface of the satchel. It's lined in kid glove leather.
The green material is called green onyx, a natural stone dyed to look like jade, and it's used at the bottom. The satchel has edging, a kid glove leather lining, and natural pearls hand-sewn onto it. The small edges are actually diamonds. It was advised not to store the satchel in a steel safety deposit box, as it could harm the delicate materials. This highlighted the satchel's age, excellent condition, and luxurious details. While examining the condition of the item, the appraiser said,
This at auction would be somewhere between $6,000 and $8,000.
I always wondered if people were faking it when they were so speechless with the price, but now I know. Really?
Yes. And it's really because of the natural pearls. It's because the market on natural pearls has just exploded.
Thank you for the news.
Well, thank you. I'm glad you like the news. It's always good to get good news, isn't it?
Absolutely. What a treat.
These awe-inspiring prints were created by the Currier and Ives print company. Currier and Ives were the largest publisher of print in the second half of the 19th century. These 4 prints are currently exhibited by a guest who received them as a gift from her father.
These are a gift from my dad, who worked at the Smithsonian Institute in Washington, D.C., and these were given to him as a retirement gift.
They are second-hand colored lithographs, presented in small folio sizes. Although many reproductions of such prints exist, we can confirm the authenticity of these pieces by the absence of dots in the colors. Upon examining the lower part of these prints, we can identify that they were produced in 1871. The collection includes a perfectly preserved print depicting a Western farmer's home. In its current condition, this print is expected to be valued at
I would expect to see that one for maybe around $500.
Another print portrays a hunting scene in the northern woods. This beautiful piece could fetch an auction price of
About $1,200 is what I expect a shop to have it in that kind of condition.
Additionally, we have a print featuring a scene from Yosemite, including the Pioneer Cabin. This item is estimated to be worth.
Retail environment probably be about $1,500.
Finally, on display is a print illustrating a scene from the American Gold Rush, one of the most popular works by Currier and Ives. Due to its popularity and historical significance, this print is valued at.
This would sell for about $2,500.
Wow, that's great.
Watches not only show time, but also signify wealth and style, reflecting the wearer's status and taste. A 1980s Rolex pink gold watch purchased for $60 was thought to date back to before World War II. It was later determined to have been made in 1943. This bubble-back model, known for its waterproof design and durability, features an automatic movement. The unusual and rare feature of this watch is its black dial.
It's pink gold. It's called a bubble back. It has an automatic movement.
Early bubble-back models mostly had plain white dials with stick figures, but this one has luminescence. Black dials were rare, and most have been refinished. However, this watch retains its original 1943 black dial. The numbers are painted with radium, making them radioactive. The watch features an 18-karat gold top and a steel back, while some models were made of solid gold, or with 14 and 18-karat gold cases. It can still be serviced and is expected to run for another 50 years, showcasing its lasting quality and craftsmanship. While examining the condition of the item, the appraiser said,
Probably a retail value is about $5,000.
Whoa!
Yeah.
Wow.
Probably the only thing that's holding it back, the size of the watch. People are buying a little larger watches right now. Probably about 5-6 years ago, it had actually more value.
Really?
Yeah. It's actually at a lower point right now.
It's fascinating how a small object like a vintage buckle can connect us to the past. The buckle showcased on the show is a prime example. It might have seen some battles and witnessed the Civil War firsthand. Our guest found this buckle in his father's cotton field in Alabama in 1963.
In the fall, I was out hunting and found a clump of dirt that looked like a piece of coal, and it was strange for something that be out of place.
This item was made by the Leach and Rigdon firm, one of the premier arms makers in the Confederate government during the American Civil War. It is a cast brass buckle bearing the symbol CS for Confederate States, surrounded by 11 stars.
This is a cast brass buckle. They would take a sand mold and actually mold the buckle out of molten brass, and they would cast the hooks at the same time.
However, the guest had made some alterations to the piece as he wore it for about 20 years, which could slightly affect its value. As a symbol of the American Civil War period, in this condition, we can expect this buckle to command a value of,
I would ask, between $10,000 to $12,000.
Wow.
Not bad.
Not bad for finding something in the cotton field.
I got to know where that cotton field's at now.
Our guest acquired these posters at the Stanford University Renaissance Fair in the 1960s, where she and another woman competed for them. The posters are from the London Underground advertising campaign, all printed in 1928 under the guidance of Frank Pick, who aimed to promote leisure activities using the subway. Each poster was created by a different artist, with a bouquet of flowers at the end. The second poster features classic Art Deco stylization, emphasizing speed with imagery of lightning bolts and...
You have the image of the sleek train. It's an excellent image, and it epitomizes the style and the design sense that the London Underground was trying to convey back in the 1930s.
The third poster highlights different leisure activities, encouraging people to use the Underground for various outings. Despite their initial purchase price of $1 each, all these posters as a collection are now valued at...
These three posters I would estimate together at $8,000 to $11,000.
Very good. Very good indeed. Thank you very much.
Marble plaques have been used for centuries to commemorate and honor individuals. A guest on the show brought a marble work by Erastus Dow Palmer. Palmer was a very talented self-taught American sculptor from the 19th century.
And is widely considered to be one of the most important American sculptors of the 19th century.
He is also one of the earliest artists in the American neoclassical movement.
He was self-taught, which is another reason why he's considered to be such an important artist in the neoclassical movement.
The subject of the plaque remains unknown, but it is beautifully carved. On the reverse side, the plaque is dated 1864. Observing the nose on the sculpted figure, we can see a small chip in the marble, which slightly affects its value. At auction, even with minor wear, this beautiful work by a skilled sculptor like Palmer would still be valued at
$10,000 to $15,000 on it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks for bringing it in.
Yes.
Our guest purchased the artwork depicting the Sphinx in a going-out-of-business sale for a frame shop for $50. Intrigued by the scene and recognizing its potential value, the guest decided to research the artist before taking any further action. The artwork is by David Roberts, a British landscape artist famous for his work in Egypt and the Middle East.
He did a lot of work with architecture, and architects love his works. He did pictures of streets in downtown Cairo, for instance.
This piece is from the folio edition of Roberts' book on Egypt, indicating its large size. The print is a lithograph, hand-colored with watercolors, which was common for Roberts' prints. It was originally part of a book, as evidenced by the hinge marks across the top. The Sphinx print is one of Roberts' most famous and in-demand works. In a retail gallery, this print could easily sell for...
If this is in a retail gallery, this is going to bring between $4,000 and $5,000. Wow. It's difference.
Nice. That is quite a bit more than 50.
It could go at an auction for even more. I mean, it might go less, of course, there's a range.
A rare weaving by Peter Collingwood, bought for $10, is worth thousands. The appraiser called it one of the most unusual pieces in his 20 years on the show, as he usually dealt with paintings or drawings. The guest explained that he had bought the piece at an estate sale, initially thinking it was some sort of macrame. After finding a name and number on the bottom, he and his wife discovered it was made by British artist Peter Collingwood. The appraiser confirmed this and shared that Collingwood was born in London in 1922, initially training to be a doctor before discovering his passion for weaving during his national service in Jordan. Collingwood even made looms from broken deck chairs.
We know that. And during his national service, he was stationed in Jordan. And there he discovered his true passion, which was weaving, to the extent that he used to break up deck chairs and make looms out of them.
And was deeply influenced by a Bedouin tent hanging he received as a gift. After returning to Britain, he studied under renowned weaver Ethel Marriott, who, despite finding him dull, noted his rare interest in weaving. Collingwood innovated weaving techniques in the 1960s, creating works called macro gauzes. He mentioned that most of Collingwood's pieces had been sold in the UK, sometimes fetching up to $34,000. The guest joked about keeping the weaving safe from their cats, to which the appraiser advised hanging it high to avoid damage. While examining the item, the appraiser said,
"Would you be happy to hear that at auction it would probably fetch between $5,000 and $8,000?
I would like to hear that again, really.